Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and I come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, folks, here we are at the end of the year. What a crazy, crazy year it has been. You know, compared to last year, it feels better. But it's a bit scary where we're headed with all these things about canceled airlines and more COVID shutdowns and, you know, the Omicron and the Delta variant. And you look at all this, and I know life's uncertain. I get it. But I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like this whole thing is just spinning out of control. And I spend my days trying to figure out how to get that control back, which, of course, neither you or I ever had control. So what difference does it make? But it is kind of an unusual time in all of history as I look at what is happening. And I question the values that go on out there. I struggle with that myself. I don't know if that's true of you or not. I was kidding with my husband that I remember when I was younger and we all said that the world's going to go to hell in a handbasket, you know. Well, here we are, you know, where's the handbasket? And I question so many things when I read some of the research that I do. My name is Opal Singleton. I am the host of your show, and I'm also the president and CEO of an organization here in Southern California called Million Kids. It's called Million Kids because initially we started out just fighting sex trafficking. Gee, that was way back in 2010. I actually started like in 2008. And what a crazy journey it has been. And so our organization now combats human trafficking, including sex and labor trafficking. And there's more labor trafficking in the Inland Empire than you might realize. But we also combat sextortion, which is blackmail with a photo, and social media exploitation, and as well as people who are engaging in what we call child pornography or CSAM, which CSAM is CSAM, stands for Child Sexual Abuse Materials. Sometimes it's CSIM, Child Sexual Exploitation Materials. Basically, it is child pornography. And we also look at money laundering and foreign national trafficking. And we talk about the various cases that have taken place, especially here locally. If you want to learn more about that, I'd highly recommend that you go to millionkids.org. MILLION, millionkids.org. Sign up for our insider alerts. This is something that I started doing. In all honesty, I started doing it so I could take our training in-house and educate you. I used to do all of it on Facebook, but we are one of those people that was removed from Facebook. A year ago, last October, it was just heartbreaking. I look back and I'm going, what did I do? You know, why'd you pick on me? I'm a good kid. Give me a break. But it was absolutely devastating when it happened. And it's a fascinating understanding of where society is and how somebody can just take you off or put you on social media at a whim. In that case, that background of that is you had a proposition on the voting ballot called Proposition 20. And many of you may not realize, but child sex crimes in the state of California are not considered violent crimes. Now, I'm prejudiced on that. I'll just say it out loud. You know, for me, when a child is sexually exploited, it's violent. It's violent to that child, and many times there's violence included in that. But because of Proposition 57, it basically said that they would let out prisoners early based on anybody who had not committed a violent crime. What the world did not seem to understand at that time when it was passed is what is a violent crime in the state of California. And child sex trafficking or child sexual abuse is not considered a violent crime. Well, I thought it should be. It was one of those bills that was written backwards, so to trick you. And it worked. It did not pass. But because I was promoting that, I was taken off Facebook. And it was just devastating. I had thousands and thousands of followers. I've been doing this work for like 12 years now. And I personally have trained more than 500,000 people on these subjects. And I'm a, certified law enforcement trainer, but I also have trained a huge amounts of Rotaries and churches and, Girl Scout troops and schools and all kinds of people. I've kind of slowed that down because of COVID, but I was doing that training using my Facebook. Well, they came in and said, that we don't agree with your politics and we are going to take you off. So I created something called Million Kids Insider Alerts. And if you go on millionkids.org, then that's a great place to see that and sign up for them. What I do is about 2 to 3 times a week, I go in and I analyze particular cases that happen. And I talk about how the victim was so vulnerable. And I talk about what kind of technology did they use and what do we know about these perpetrators and the legal process and prosecuting them. And then what can we teach law enforcement? And those are all available to the public just by simply going in and signing up for Million Kids Insider Alert. While you're there, be sure and sign up for our newsletter too. We won't harass you. We do our best. I'm probably the worst fundraiser you ever saw, although I got to sharpen my pencil here and get better because we have a movie that is about to come out. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But we also share with you a lot of information about how all this takes place. So I started taking these inside our organization, and you sign up for it and you get it. We still have some Facebook social media we're back on, and we have about, 7,000, 8,000 followers, which was nothing compared to where we were at. But what is interesting here, you may wonder, how does all of that work that they can just take you down? Well, it is a fascinating concept that I sometimes and quite often talk about. We have a tendency to think of social media as something we're entitled to. It's something we just simply sign up for and we can post on it and say and do what we want. And the first thing they want you to do is bring in all your friends, because the more friends you have, then the more that they can solicit through those friends. And it's a massive network building kind of thing. But what happened is a couple of years ago, actually about 4 years ago now, the laws changed that hold the platform owner, people like Facebook, accountable for what is on their platform. And when that started to happen, Facebook said, wait a minute, if you're going to hold me accountable for someone who posted child pornography, then I get a right to decide who's on there. And rather than to go through and say, okay, we're going to just remove anything that might be illegal, they decided that they were going to remove anybody they didn't agree with. And that is how that all happened. We never, ever did anything illegal. In fact, we were pretty mild in what we posted on there in the first place. But it is an interesting time in society because social media apps and platforms are bringing all of us together. Except now, while we're all together, they get to decide on what we post or not, and whether or not they're going to allow that on. And so it is a way of people that we've never met impacting whether or not we have a right to express our opinion. And so basically, this is important to understand because what I'm going to talk about next is our movie that is coming out. And I am just over the moon excited about this movie. I've been 4 years in putting this together, and it's taken many strange turns. And sometimes we've gotten incredible pushback. But it's like what pushback we get, God rewards it even more. And it is now scheduled to come out the first or second week of February, depending on a few factors that I don't get to control. But it will be called Sextortion, the Hidden Pandemic. And I want to share that with you because I want to today talk why we're making this movie, how sextortion works and why this movie is so important to you and your family. It's a fascinating journey that we have been on. We're just a small company here in the Inland Empire, and yet God seems to be using this in a mighty, mighty way. And it is amazing the people that we're connected to and what is happening with this movie. So I want to just kind of share that with you as we're going forward. We're about to come up against a break here, so I'm going to ask you to stay with us. We're going to be right back. My name is Opal Singleton. This is Exploited Crimes and Technology, and we are coming to you from the Inland Empire talking about crimes in the Inland Empire. Be right back.
Listen up, folks. You no longer have to drive out of the IE for a great restaurant experience. The Toasted Barrel, an upscale casual steakhouse located in Corona, has been winning award after award for their great diverse menu, service, ambience, wine, and cocktails. Customers call the Barrel the perfect date night. Inland Empire Magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant 4 years in a row. Wine Spectator recognized the Toasted Barrel's wine program for their award of excellence. Toasted Barrel is famous for their certified Angus beef, prime, Wagyu, and Kobe steaks, and they have some of the best pasta and seafood around. With happy hour and daily specials every day of the week, their appetizers and drink selections are the best around. Live music starts every Friday and Saturday at 5:30. Planning a dinner party, wedding rehearsal, family gathering, or holiday party? Look up Toasted Barrel online and make your reservation today.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about the new movie that will be coming out at the first of next year. I can't tell you how excited I am. A bit terrified. I've never done this before. So let me tell you a little bit about our journey here and why this movie is just so important at this place in history. In my opinion, it is not just another movie. I would not even have been interested in doing that. This all started for me long about 2015, 2016. My husband, who has now passed away, was struggling with the issues related to kidney cancer. And he helped me in the many years that I have done this, where I would go out and make public speeches to schools and civic groups, and we would talk about the need to help the world understand where a naked photo goes when you hit send. And my husband told me as he was passing, he said, I need to know when I am gone, you're still doing this. Well, I went through a couple of years of widowhood, and it was tough. It was really tough. And I would think, what am I doing and where will this money come from? But what happened here is as I would go out and share the need with people, people came forward and donated. And it was just simply incredible. In the end, Giving University came along and partnered with us. They actually have funded the main movie, and we've funded the documentary part of it. And it has turned out to be a full-length feature film that will come out. We hope to get it on one of the big, or maybe more of the big streamers after it is developed. It has been submitted to many film festivals. It's being looked at by many government agencies. It's a fascinating thing to make a movie like this that we want to have a point to. This movie is really about teaching parents how to lower the veil of denial regarding technology and how sextortion or blackmail with a photo works. It's also meant to take that kind of unbelief, if you will, out of our young people that are involved in online communication. Every kid I've ever met, and I've met thousands, tens and tens of thousands of them, will tell you that they don't believe it will ever happen to them. And that is what makes them so vulnerable. So I wanted a movie that was like an action movie, that was high tech, that kept the kids engaged, not a wagging finger, thou shalt not. Kids will not listen to that. But I wanted them to understand how the internet is made, who is out there that is trying to get their photo, and then how do they seduce you into giving that photo, and where that photo goes the minute you hit send. So as I would go out and speak, Giving University came alongside of us. We interviewed several good producers, but we settled on Stephen Peak. And Stephen is back in Virginia, and hallelujah that we were smart enough to do that, because then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, our business model changed dramatically. We were people that for a long time would drive 4,000 or 5,000 miles a month making speeches and selling books. And that's how we supported our organization. When COVID hit, of course, we couldn't go out and sell books, and we couldn't go out and make speeches. We did a lot of Zooming, and that worked for us. We were able to keep our business going, but it changed absolutely everything. By picking Stephen Peak, first of all, he's a father of a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. So he knew nothing about this business of sextortion or blackmail with a photo. So by that time, for what it's worth, I had remarried, and my husband and I went back to Virginia, and we spent 3 days educating him about how sextortion works. When it was all said and done, he just simply did a lot of his own research, and he was just blown away of how big an epidemic this is, that so few people talk about it. And I really want to point that out. This film was filmed inside of Homeland Security's ICAC unit. That is Internet Crimes Against Children. That has never been done before. And on top of it, includes NCMEC, which is National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. If that sounds familiar, you might think of John Walsh and America's Most Wanted. And so it was just phenomenal that we were able to partner with these people and put this together. But as we began to understand what we had, we say, how do we get it out there? And especially in a world of COVID. You see, one of the reasons why this movie is so important is the timing in history. There are many things going on right now that make this absolutely critical. First of all, there are now over 5 billion people connected by internet. Over 5 billion around the world. I often think of the Tower of Babel when I think about that. Our kids will be the first generation in all of history that will be connected to the entire world, and the entire world will be connected to our kids. And I cannot show you a parent on earth who's ready for that. And I cannot show you a teenager that really understands what that means. I was writing my third book today, and one of the things that really hit me when I was researching the statistic of the number of internet users is now over 5 billion. But get this statistic. Almost 94% around the world of people who are on the internet are using a mobile phone. Think about the impact of that. Remember when we first started putting our kids on the internet and we had one desktop computer and it was in the main room, and if you used it, everybody else used it, and we saw what you did. And then we progressed into getting apps with filters and trackers and mirroring devices and all kinds of things to keep track of our kids. But now 94% of the people using an internet have their own phone. And so that makes it harder and harder to track their activity. On top of it, there are now gazillions more, is that a good word? Gazillion more users that some of them, let's say only 1% of them, want to do something bad to a child. And if they can reach a child that is available and vulnerable, they will groom that child and recruit them in various ways, either to send photos or send videos or to even hook up. One of the big trends I'm seeing right now are kids who go out and meet up with someone they have never met, and they met them online, and they either just want to see what they're like, or they have developed a fantasy relationship, or maybe they've sent one of those photos and they're trying to get it back. I was reading the story this week. It's a tragic story, up in Utah, in a little bitty town. I often speak in small towns and places because they'll say, well, our kids, it's not like being in South Central LA. No, it isn't. But anytime you're on the internet, it's a world without borders. Little small town up in Utah, a beautiful, innocent, just gorgeous young girl. I think she was 14, if I remember right. Maybe she was younger. And she had hooked up with someone in a chat room and somehow went out to meet up with him. They found her after more than a week of being missing. She was in a basement in a pile of coal. She had been violated, and her life has now changed forever. The only mistake she made is she met someone online and decided that she was going to meet them in person. Anytime I see a case like that, I say we cannot look the other way. Our young people need to understand how this happened and how easy it is. I would be willing to tell you that just like all the other kids I know, that young girl would have said, it will never happen to me. But the minute that you reach out and hook up with someone you don't know, and that's going to happen, we have to teach our young people to live in a world without borders in a way that they can protect themselves and understand how this world is made. That is the purpose of this film, Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic, because we truly are in a pandemic. According to National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, just last year, they took more than 20 million calls, leads on young people who have been sexually exploited. 20 million in 1 year. I understand that COVID is a pandemic, but when you have 20 million leads on kids being exploited, that also is a hidden pandemic. Up against that break, be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift, Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton and I'm the host of your show. I want to take a minute before we go back into this subject just to say how much you all mean to me. And, you know, it's been an interesting ride. After the 2 years that I was widowed and now I've remarried, and thank God my husband is very supportive of this work. This work can be very, very demanding. In my case, I take leads, real leads. I often am assisting and looking for a missing and runaway kid. We do run a service called Million Kids Missing Kids. We don't charge for that service. It's all about trying to get your kid back. But what happens there is so many kids now decide they're going to sneak out and meet up with someone, or they've fallen in love on one of those dating sites, and it turns out to be some young gang guy who whisks them off to another city. I'm going to tell you, the parent is just out of their mind. You go to the police department, you file the report, everybody goes home and waits. So what will often happen is they know us, they know what we do, and they'll have the parent contact us, and we will create a missing person's flyer. And, we don't take the leads ourselves. I'm not interested in getting in the way of law enforcement in any way. We will get the police report number, the contact number at the police station, and then the parent gives us photographs and we create flyers. And I don't know how many flyers we've sent in the last 10, 12 years, but a lot, okay? And we're doing it now with DPSS and Riverside for missing foster kids, because so many kids online, sometimes they just disappear. So we do this as a service. Well, I had an event happen to me this last week that just kind of was so special, I have to share it. I was just down at one of my favorite restaurants there in Riverside and put my name in for a seat because they always have a backlog of people there. And this guy looked around at me and he said, "Are you Opal Singleton?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "I never miss your show, and you helped me when I had a foster child that ran away." And I remember talking to him. By the way, he was an excellent father, did all the right things. And that's some of what we do, is try to counsel the parent. People do not realize how devastating the crime of sextortion or social media exploitation or sex trafficking or just a runaway teenager, how devastating that is for a family. You don't know if they're in Las Vegas or Los Angeles or Tijuana. You don't know if they're with some pedophile creep who's doing something terrible to them, or with some gang pimp that's putting them out for sex. You just simply don't know. And nothing has prepared you for that moment. So that is one of the services we offer. And apparently we was doing that for this gentleman. I mostly never meet the people that are in this. I do a lot of this over the phone and sometimes through Skype. But it is sometimes hard work. I was laughing at myself this week, quite frankly, because someone wanted a particular kind of video. And so I was going through our inventory on Million Kids. And by the way, we have a YouTube channel on there that you can access and have lots of videos on different subjects. I was looking at how much this business has changed my life over the last 10 years. Holy cow, I look young in some of that stuff, and it's all gone now. But it's okay, because this is what God has asked us to do, and this is where we're at to do it. And so the purpose of creating this film and the book that's going to go with it is to be able to teach parents to understand how the internet is made and to lower that veil of denial, and also to teach all of us about the things that impact this crime of sextortion. You see, one of the biggest factors in this crime is how our technology is changing. And it's really, all of us are running, trying to catch up to this. We see our kids with all of these fancy videos that they make with music and even animation in them, and technology's coming in where you can remove the people in the photo and put in a new photo. And in fact, the new phone out does that kind of thing. And I say this is really, really a fascinating time in our society because they're messing with reality. 20 years ago, you met another person, you looked in their eyes, you could understand who they were, what they were about, what they stood for, whether or not you could trust them, and you could share some time with them. And it was a means of being able to evaluate the risk in your life. But that is not true of today's world, and it's going to get even crazier. I was looking at I can't think of his name right now. Come to me, the Facebook guy, Zuckerberg. I was looking at his movie this week about metaverse. And I say to myself, how do I prepare young people to form relationships in a world that is totally connected to billions of people and what they're seeing has been altered? Metaverse is going to be kind of a mix of virtual reality, which will literally prey on your soul, especially if it's a sexual virtual reality. I was always remember a guy that I was researching. I don't know anything about this guy, but he sounded fun. He said I was at the electronics show up in Las Vegas. This has been 2 or 3 years ago, and they were demonstrating virtual reality. And they had a booth that you could go into, completely private, and view virtual reality pornography. He said, I've been married 30 years. I never cheat on my wife. We do the normal stuff. And he says, I tried this thing out. And he said, I was doing stuff in 5 minutes I'd never admit to a soul. But then he said, you know what? It burned on my soul for almost a month. I could not get it out of my head. And I think we are putting our precious young people online as they're going through puberty. Or maybe they are prepubescent, or they're coming out of puberty. And they are experiencing virtual reality, augmented reality. Now we're going into extended reality, where nothing will be as it seems it should be. And our young people will meet people online in this environment. And we're going to trust our young people to make healthy decisions about who they can trust and who they can't, when in fact you can no longer believe what you're seeing online. And so this is why this movie is so important to me. I believe that we have the greatest opportunity of all times as leaders, as parents, as grandparents, as mentors, to come alongside our young people and help them comprehend the world they not only now live in, but the one that they're moving into, and the impact that will have on them as they form relationships with people they've never met. Our kids, it will not be uncommon for them to have more than 1 million followers as they do things like TikTok and like and bite. Will Smith has 40 million. Everybody wants to go viral. Everybody wants to inclusion. Everybody wants to be discovered. And yet they're on there because they want to be successful. So to be successful means people are going to have to communicate with them. And pedophiles get that. They go on these sites where you're out there dancing and trying to get attention. And now these apps, this technology is no longer one way. You blast a video out on something like TikTok. And by the way, I'm not picking on TikTok. I have some of it. Apps are not good or bad. It's how you choose to use them. But you have to understand that if you're sending a video out to 1 million people on TikTok, that at least 10,000 of them might be pedophiles. And almost all of them are going to make you an offer. Meet me over there on Instagram. Hey, baby, you're hot. Get me one more of these videos. Hey, make them better. I'm an agent. We're going to get you famous. And they see this happening on TV. They see it happening in all of these different programs and shows. And they say, why not me? This guy thinks I'm hot. I'll send some more videos. And it goes that quickly. That is why this movie is so timely. It'll be called Sextortion, the Hidden Pandemic, and it is a pandemic. Blackmail with a photo. NCMEC took over 20 million calls last year just for these kinds of things where kids were being exploited. We cannot sit idly by. We must take this on, and I need your help to do that. So thank you for listening to this show. We are coming up against a break. We got one more. We'll be right back.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. I so much appreciate each and every one of you. I have really had an interesting year, and I've done a lot of reflection this last week as we are in between the Christmas and the New Year, partly because I'm writing the audio video book that goes with the movie that's being released, and part of it is because we're finally releasing this movie. You know, you have no idea how precious you are to me. You have no idea. Your name pops up on a donor that you've made a donation, and I stop and pray for you. Most of you I've never met. I do meet you sometimes out there. Apparently I have an interesting voice, and people go, "Are you the lady on the radio?" Yeah. But it's a fascinating thing that we have become a family because we care about our kids and our grandkids. And, you know, I would not be to this area where we are about to release this movie, except for all the people that came forward and went on to millionkids.org and put out a donation of some sort or sent us a check. It's a team together. And as this movie gets released, we will have an event where we hopefully I can meet you. I don't know if COVID's going to allow us to ever meet another person in person again. But anyway, I would love to do that because you are as important in getting this word out as I am. Okay, I've been fighting this fight for a long time, but I can't fight this fight without you. It's that simple. Some of you cheer me on. Many of you are prayer warriors for this work. And I tell you, I so much appreciate it. And I appreciate each and every one of you that write out those checks or give us a credit card deposit to donate. It means the world to us. We are coming up on the end of the year, by the way, and I will mention that if you need a tax deduction donation, I know every organization in the world is out there beating you up, wanting this and wanting that, and I'm terrible at it, quite frankly. But I am so passionate about this movie that I don't care. I am going to ask. We have to get this movie all around the world. A movie in a can will not help anybody. Now, we are getting all kinds of doors opened up to us. But what we need is to get this movie shown in churches across the nation, to get it shown in Seroptimus meetings, to get it shown in Rotary meetings, to get it shown in schools, to get it shown to parents everywhere, especially parents in mega churches that can pass it along to other people. We need to raise the funding that we are able to get the kind of publicity we need so that it is in the big time, that it is in on the Netflix and the Amazons and the Sonys of the world, so that each and every person around the world will get a chance to get their eyes on that movie. It is a powerful movie. We picked the right guy. It is a powerful story about a man who was married. He had young kids, and he was gorgeous, good-looking guy. He was a Navy Top Gun pilot, and he was sextorting 14-year-old girls all over. And it talks about some of the kids that were victims were in there talking in that movie. One young lady out of Canada, Amanda Todd, her mother talks because before she committed suicide, she made a video herself. And some of her video is inside our movie. You see, so many times kids get trapped in this and they can't tell. They go out. In fact, the number is something like 57%, I think, or 58% of kids who send a naked photo online will go out and meet up with a pedophile to try to get that photo back without ever telling a parent. And we are seeing case after case after case where once they go out and meet up, they disappear. We saw a case out of Escondido. A 14-year-old boy took off with this guy. He met on a video game chat room, became infatuated with him. We'll often see that with guys who decide, well, I'm gay, and this guy's mentoring me about being gay, and some of them are actually being paid money for their photos, and some of them are sending them off because they believe they're in a relationship. Situation out of Escondido was his parents realized he wasn't coming home from school. They went through his social media and found out that his perpetrator was in Orlando, and they were able to meet the plane as he and the perpetrator, who was a sex offender, by the way, got off the plane in Orlando. Same thing, a little 12-year-old girl up in Fresno was intercepted on a plane getting off the plane in Denver. These are the kinds of things that just make your heart burn. And you say to yourself, never again. If we can explain to kids where those naked photos go and that they go into the hands of a world full of pedophiles, these pedophiles meet, they find each other, they form large-scale rings, and it will change a child's life forever. If your child sent off a photo to someone that was in Welcome to Video, there were more than 1 million paid subscribers. That means your child would be viewed by a minimum of 1 million pedophiles, and it would be shared and traded and sold around the world, and your child's life will change forever. I consider this a major pandemic bigger even than what is going on with COVID. And I don't want to overlook or downplay COVID. But when you take 20 million calls in a year, and we are putting our kids online learning all the time. You have pedophiles going online in a massive way, and you have kids going online without supervision in a massive way. And it is, in fact, literally a global crisis. That's why our movie is called Sextortion, the Hidden Pandemic. Well, Happy New Year to each and every one of you. I am looking forward to 2022. I hope all this illness lets up and that we get a handle on it and find ways to overcome it. But I also will tell you that I am spending every breathing moment that I can to get this movie out there and get it promoted. A movie in a can is worthless. We have to get this story in front of parents and kids all around the world. And that's going to take you and me to do that. I need funding to do that. I need commitment. I need people who have access to large audiences that can come forward or might have impact in some way that could help us get that video out there, maybe with a university. USC has agreed to hold a premiere for us, COVID willing. I'm very excited towards the end of March. That's truly exciting. There are several big events coming up that we will be doing to introduce the movie. So it is beyond my wildest dreams, and I thank each and every one of you that have come forward, that have helped us, that follow us, that share the show. Please go to millionkids.org. You can go on our Facebook at Million Kids. I don't know how long we'll stay on there this time, but share all of this with everyone you know. We're developing a website for this. It'll be Sextortion info. We won't have it up until after probably mid-January. At the same time, I will be releasing, and this time we're going to release an audio video book. In the past, I've written books. I still have 2 books. If you want to order a book, I'll sign them and send them to you, and that supports our work. It's called Seduced: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about that fantasy process. And then we have Societal Shift: A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. That is a book about how technology will impact crimes against children, especially sexual exploitation crimes. The next book, though, will be called Sextortion: The Silent Pandemic, and it'll be downloadable on our website. If you join with us today and sign up on millionkids.org, you will be notified. We're not sure what we're going to charge. I think it's probably $9.95. You can download it. It'll be basically me doing a long-form presentation of the book, reading the book, giving you slides, letting you watch it, and there will be an audio version of it also for those of you that just like to listen and don't want to read or look. But we're doing that because this is such a fast-changing subject, and we need to be able to go in and alter the information as it's happening. As we get metaverse, as we get extended reality and augmented reality, as we're dealing with virtual reality and virtual reality pornography and animated video game character pornography and all these technologies that are coming around that will impact our children, we need to be able to make those changes, and we'll be able to do that by doing that book that way. So I want to thank each and every one of you as we come to the end of this year. I so much appreciate you and value you, and I value your support, your prayers, and your financial support. This is a whole new year coming up, folks. Put your arms around your family and let them know how proud you are of them, how much you love them, and how much they mean to you. Family and love is everything. See you next year, folks. Have a great weekend.
Societal Shift: A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses. and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the darknet will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.